game of the week, game day, Josh Pate, everybody's going to be there. This is going to be, as far as non-conference games, this is probably the biggest one. And again, I think it's mainly because it's at a home field. It's not at some neutral location or something like that. So Alabama is a 7-point favorite, over under at 54.5. Justin, tell me your thoughts on this game.
My thoughts are that I think the line is where it probably should be. So that, to me, that's like, I think you're getting good value on either side of the bet. I think that Alabama has a little chip on their shoulder, even more so than Texas does going into this game this year. I feel like Texas had something to prove last year to themselves. And I think they really kind of caught Alabama off guard. I think Alabama, that was one of the weaker Alabama teams in general anyway, but I think we got them at home. I think that, everything kind of lined up for Texas to win that game, and they still couldn't get the win. I think Alabama's going to be ready on this game. I think they're going to be extremely ready. And the question mark will be the quarterback play from both sides. I think that's what's going to decide it. I think both defenses are going to be great. I'm going to go ahead and tell you I'm taking the under in this game. I think it's going to be another game that's going to be finishing probably like in the 20s, low 20s. I think that if Texas can get out to a quick start, and they don't even have to do anything with the deep ball, but I think if Texas can get out to a quick start and Quinn gets comfortable, I think Texas can win the game. And I hate picking this, but I don't see that happening this week. I feel like this reminds me a lot of when Texas, the year they won it with Vince Young, they went in Ohio State and got a great win, and that propelled them to the national championship game. I think this game means a lot more to Texas than it does Alabama. And I think if Texas does win the game, I think it could propel them into that type of season. But all signs to me just point that Alabama is going to be ready this time around. I think Saban's going to have a really good game plan. I think that they're going to run the ball a lot. I think they're going to try to control the clock a lot. I think they're going to try to keep Texas's offense off the field. And so I'm going to take Alabama with the -7.
So you're going to do under in Alabama?
Yes. Yeah. And I hate that because I'm going to be rooting for Texas big time. I mean, we know this, but if I'm just picking what I think is going to happen, that's what I think. I think Alabama, Texas has to be careful, in my opinion. Texas really has to be careful that they get out to a pretty decent start. I think Alabama is going to be ready.
I'm with you on most of what you said. So I'm also taking the under in this game. I think this is just a back and forth. I think this comes down to the last couple possessions, probably looking at tied ball game or one possession game going into the fourth, and it's just back and forth. If Alabama didn't have a brand new quarterback, I think I'd be a little bit more worried, but I just feel like our defense is at that level where we can compete with anybody. The offense is going to have to make some big plays, and they're going to have to keep drives going. But this kind of reminds me, you said that you think Alabama will be ready for this game. I normally think that too, but the last couple of years that Alabama has played A&M beat Alabama a couple years ago, I believe. And then they almost beat them last year. Like, it was a real close game. So I think sometimes teams they're just kind of built to hang with Alabama, especially when Alabama doesn't have those generational quarterbacks yet. And who knows, Milroe might be that one day, but I just think that Texas is deep now. Their defensive line is very deep. They have guys all over the field that can make plays. Offensively, one of the best wide receiver rooms in the country. And when Quinn was in there last year before he got hurt, they were throwing it all over the field on that secondary. I'm not going to pick the game one way or the other team-wise, but I do think this is a battle back and forth, and I do think it's an under game. I would be shocked if either one of these teams hits 30 points. I just think it's going to be that kind of back and forth. Defense makes a couple plays. Offense, I think it's going to be a fantastic game, but I don't know. if the line wasn't 7, I'd probably say, yeah, Alabama has a better shot just because they're at home. But I do think this is a battle.
If Quinn was as good, or he might be, but if Quinn was playing at the level that he's projected to play at, I guess you could say, to me, this would be a no-brainer. I'd pick Texas because I think that Texas not only has a great running game, I think Texas is going to have another great running game this year. I think I think Brooks to me looks really good early on. If I knew that Quinn was going to make the throws that he needs to make, I just haven't seen it yet. That's the big mystery. And I know that Alabama's got bigger question marks, but I always give the edge to the home team on these non-conference games. I feel like a lot of times the home team, especially a home team like Alabama, who's used to having all the hype around them. It's not like, game day's coming there for the first time. And, I don't know when the last time they're actually there, but they're used to kind of having the target on their back. I think oddly enough, they probably feel a little bit like the underdogs in this game, as weird as that sounds, because I think that they know that Texas should have had it last year. But just talking based on this year, it's truly this whole season and plus this game to me is going to come down to Quinn Ewers. I mean, if he can show me, and again, play calling has a lot to do with this, but if they utilize the whole field, let him make some easy throws early. That's what always bothers me with Texas. They start the game by throwing like 3, go routes or something. It's like, dude, let him get comfortable. If Quinn gets comfortable in the game, I think that Texas could win this game and actually put some points on the board. But I really think that this game's going to be decided and I know this sounds crazy, first quarter. Because I think that that's how important it is to get, we're going to see what quarterback gets comfortable the quickest. Because I think both quarterbacks still have a lot to prove. So I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a great game. The fan in me thinks Texas is going to go in there and pull this off. The analyst, which I'm really not much of, but the person just picking games, if I had to take my bias out of it, I would probably feel good about the -7 with Alabama. But I think I'm with you. I think this game is going to be a great game. I think it's going to go back and forth, and we'll see.
So yeah, in closing, I think I'll disagree with you a little bit. We've seen Quinn make throws, which lets us know that he can do it. He just hasn't done it consistently enough to where we're comfortable. He'll have a game like OU where he's just throwing it all around the field, getting multiple people involved the first half against Alabama. But then he'll have games like TCU last year where it seemed like he couldn't complete anything. So again, I think this is his chance to really kind of put his name in the hat of top quarterbacks in college football, and I think he's going to come out and I think he's going to do it. So
this is the game.
That's our picks.
This is the game for him.
Yeah.
This is the game that he has to prove that, in my opinion. I think we've given him a lot of time, and when I mean we, I mean the nation. He was still, probably the 5th in Heisman odds going into the season. I just don't think he's proven that on the field yet. This, like you just said, this is his opportunity to kind of start getting people to be like, all right, this dude is really good. But I think if he comes out and has a terrible game, it's just one of those things. You got to throw your hands up. The play calling's got to be there. I think both coaches are going to have great game plans. I'm with you, though. I could definitely see a defensive battle, turnovers decide the game type of game.
Yeah, and this is just one of those games to me that it feels like if Quinn plays up to his ability, this is something that could propel him into a top 5 pick at the end of the year if he wants to leave. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but we've seen it happen numerous times where one big game kind of propels them all season. And I think you could see it with Quinn in this one. So, all right, so that's our picks. Let us know which ones you agree with, which ones you disagree with, and we'll be keeping track. Hopefully we have a better run than we had last week. So thanks again for sticking with us, and we'll see you next time.